one family, and one home. Makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning, with beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning, with beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next. A place.
Hello, everyone. Sorry to scare you with that hammer. I never quite know how hard to hit it. Anyway, thank you for coming to the special city council meeting today. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Councilman Parnell, would you mind leading us in the prayer?
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the privilege that you have given us to call you God and Father. Lord, we pray now tonight as we take care of the business of the city. We pray for the guidance of your Holy Spirit, that each of us would be sensitive to the leadership of the Spirit, and Father, that we would always make decisions, Father, that were best for the citizens and our community. Father, tonight our hearts are concerned about those in the pathway of the current hurricane. We ask for your protection, that God, that you'll just turn that thing around. And then those, Father, who are right now in the midst of suffering from the current hurricane a couple weeks ago, we pray for them. We pray, Father, that all that their needs will be met and that you protect them. Thank you again for this evening. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
We have the minutes from our, I can do this, 10. So that's October 1st, 2024 meeting. Did everybody have a chance to look at them, and is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
I think we'll get through this one fine. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have,
One thing, you have to do a roll call
I apologize. I thought Liz was being like funny because of our disagreements about roll calls sometimes. Okay, well then we will have to do the roll call. Go ahead.
Mayor Austin Bonta.
I unfortunately don't get to vote.
I'm calling you, though.
Oh, okay, what? Oh, I'm sorry, the roll call of the thing. I thought you were talking about the vote, my bad. Now I gotcha. I just am having a day. I gotcha. Liz, can you please take the roll call for us here at the meeting? Now I got it.
Okay, Mayor Bonta,
I am here.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
Councilmember Weidenbach. Councilmember Weidenbach, I'm sorry. Councilmember Geishurst.
Here.
Councilmember Parnell.
Here.
Councilmember Vasquez.
Here.
Councilmember Ambler.
Here.
Councilmember Zilli.
Thanks, Zoe.
Thank you. And now that I understand, Colin, were you saying that for the vote, even on the minutes, we need a roll call? Got it. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm glad that you and that screen is not as glitchy as I was a minute ago. So now we've got the October 1st, 2024 meeting minutes. I guess it was already, motion, but maybe because we had to do the roll call for the meeting first, could we have a redo on the motion?
Motion to approve the minutes for October 1st meeting. Second.
Okay, so we have we have a second. Liz, could you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Gina Geishurst.
Yes.
Councilmember Parnell.
Yes.
Councilmember Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilmember Ambler.
Yes.
Councilmember Zilli.
We have something listed as amended minutes for, let's see, that's May 14th, 2024. I'm not familiar with that being on the agenda. Can you explain that?
I sure can. There was, Colin brought it to our attention about the May 14th meeting, the back, and under the mayor's, Attorney Graham gave an explanation as to what is changing in the municipal code. Councilperson Alvarez made a motion, and it was recorded that Council Zilli made the motion. He wanted us to correct the minutes, made the motion to suspend, and then again, Member Alvarez made the motion to adopt, and it was an error recorded as Council Zilli made the motion to adopt. So we corrected the minutes?
And I assume that's been checked on the video, which is why I'm glad we have it on video.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, then there was one other change. It had the vote as 7-0, and it wasn't, I voted no on that motion.
I'm sorry, those have been corrected too. You are absolutely right.
And I do
It was
recall
6 yeses and 1 nay.
you voted no, I do recall the motion part. I appreciate that being caught. So, Councilman Alvarez, do you want to make the motion and, based on the?
Motion to adopt the amended minutes for May 14th of 2024.
So we have a motion and a second. Liz, can you call roll?
Sure. Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Geishurst,
Yes.
Councilmember Parnell,
Yes.
Councilmember Vasquez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ambler,
Yes.
and Councilmember Zilli.
Well, that's great. So we have communications, correspondence, and announcements from the mayor. Under normal circumstances, I'd want to be brief because we've got a budget hearing, we've got other things going on, but I'm really excited about a development I wanted to share with you guys to show your efforts at work and people's donations at work. So earlier this year, you guys approved the creation of a fund to promote public safety from a recruitment promotion standpoint, and we've got the first fruits of that. Lynn, did you want to come up real quick? So you'll remember that we had donations. You guys created the fund so that those donations could come somewhere, and we have the first of, well, what'll be well, you'll see.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. At the start of the year, our police and fire chiefs were sharing with me some common concerns that they were having some challenges recruiting. Oh, sorry, thank you. I'll move on over. Just recruitments of candidates. So I reached out to a trusted contact with kind of a vision to create something special, and we went to task, and what began as an idea has kind of grown into this project to hopefully inspire a new generation to step up and serve. So today I'm excited to show you the beginning 2 parts of that video. Of course, with this project, you have to find a way to fund it. So I had an incredible intern over the summer, and we went to task to find sponsorships. And so I'm proud to say that we were able to get donations and sponsorships to fund the entire project without any direct cost to the city. So anyway, without further ado, if I can get this to work, hopefully we'll play them back to back. No particular order except alphabetical.
Immerse yourself in a world of bravery and service, a career where every second counts. Join the Portage Fire Department, where actions truly change and save lives. Each day will have new challenges that test your skills and abilities. It's not only about the action. Becoming a fireman means being a part of something greater than yourself. You become a role model, someone who gives back to your community endlessly, a true hero.
My name is Chris Crail. I'm the Fire Chief, Portage Fire Department. I love Portage because I think the process that we're going through right now, as it is something special. I've worked at the city of Portage since 2001, and never have I seen a city invest in their public safety the way that is currently happening. To me, that's very special. I'm very honored to be a part of this administration, and I think that there are a lot of great things that are going to be happening within the city of Portage.
There is a time and a place for change, and that time is now. Make a change. Join Portage Fire and serve with pride.
You belong in a community where you are valued, where you can grow and build a lasting career. Whether you're new or you have years of experience, Portage is here to help create, build, and advance your career as law enforcement. Portage has opportunities for specialized assignments, such as patrol officer, crime scene investigator, SWAT member, K-9 officer, crash investigation, or school resource officer. Portage has a ton of roles that need your help.
Hi, I'm Mike Andiano. I am the Chief of Police of the Portage Police Department. I've been with the Portage Police Department for almost 22 years. One of the main reasons that I liked Portage was the welcomeness of the community, the way they support our police department, and the camaraderie of the officers that work here. If you want to do this job and you want to get into things and have different opportunities, this is the place to be. We're a fairly large police department for our area, but we have a lot of the things that the big cities have as far as your specialties. You can pretty much do anything that you have an interest in here. We also have very competitive wages. Our benefits are outstanding. The ability to have time off, to change your schedule around and be able to be there with your family, very important. And then I think just the camaraderie and the quality of people that we work with makes this job, more than a job. I would say that a lot of our officers enjoy being here on a daily basis. Almost every one of us that are here would tell you that we would have never chosen anything different.
Join the Portage Police Department, where we value you, offer competitive pay, and understand the importance of work and home life balance. We are here to train and grow alongside of you every step of the way. Make a change. Join Portage Police. Serve with pride.
Oh, yeah, we were just thinking we'd do a redo of the fire one for some reason. I don't know why.
Not intentional.
That was awesome, thank you.
We're so excited about this as we continue to promote, and we just want to thank the sponsors. We want to thank everybody who helped make this happen, and that includes you guys, the city council, for moving so quickly to create the fund that allowed to pay for this promotional campaign. So thank you. And also just thank you to our public safety teams for always working together as well as they do. But in particular with this, I mean, I think that Chris and I think that Mike and myself, I mean, we all got a little bit of a taste with working with like cameras after that gas leak thing. I still get people who talk about that when we were all in that news thing, but I think you guys did a great job. Well, I'll move over now to the clerk treasurer's report.
I will ditto probably what I said on October 1st. We are still working on the budgets, and we have a working budget, I believe, and the mayor and the budget committee will be meeting again, and we are also still working with the State Board of Accounts. Hopefully their audit will wrap up before November 1st. That's what their goal is. It was November 10th, but they're going faster than what they expected. And that's my treasurer report.
So what we can do now is we can go into the public hearing for the 2025 budget. This is my first go-around with the public hearing on the budget. I've been through public hearings as simple as just pounding the gavel and letting people come up.
I think that's all you gotta do.
All right. Well, I will begin by opening, oh. Yes. So should we just, similar to anything else, we have a council person read it? Yes. Let's see, Councilman Parnell, would you be comfortable reading? Well, not the entire budget, but what is the best way to do that?
The notice to the taxpayers, Bob, I don't know if you have a copy of it?
I do.
Okay.
Bob, if you're ready, that would be great.
And you just want me to read the first couple paragraphs, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Most definitely. The notice to taxpayers, let's see, complete details of the budget estimates by fund and/or department may be seen by visiting the office of this unit of government at 6070 Central Avenue, Portage, Indiana. Notice is hereby given to taxpayers of Portage City, Civil City, Porter County, Indiana, that the proper officers of the Portage Civil City will conduct a public hearing on the year 2025 budget. Following this meeting, any 10 or more taxpayers may object to a budget, tax rate, or tax levy by filing an objection petition with the proper officers of the Portage Civil City, not more than 7 days after the hearing. The objection petition must identify the provisions of the budget, tax rate, or tax levy to which taxpayers object. It is a petition is filed. Portage Civil City shall adopt within the budget a finding concerning the objections in the petition and testimony presented. Following the aforementioned hearing, the proper officers of the city, Portage Civil City, will meet to adopt the following budget. Let the record reflect that the has been read in its entirety.
Thank you so much, Bob. Steve, I see that you're here. At first I thought I saw you and thought I imagined it. Would you mind just kind of briefly reintroducing yourself and maybe just give a quick, what this involves here? And then I'll open it up for anybody that'd like to come up.
Good evening. Steve Carter with Cronin Associates. We are assisting the city in preparing the budget for 2025. The budget consists of a maximum civil tax levy of $22,805,169. That is an increase of about $800,000 over the previous year, and that does reflect the city's maximum estimated levy. General fund budget, which is the largest, is a budget of $25,211,402 as proposed. In total, actually, I don't have a total here, but a levy for the general fund would be $18,318,782. So similar to last year's budget, I believe. Trying to see if there's anything in here that would be of note to remark upon. Be happy to, I guess, answer any questions of council or the public regarding the budget.
So I think what we'll do then is I'll pound the gavel again. It's just a warning, and then people can come up. And if you have something to say, of course, you're welcome to come up here. When you go up there, if you could please sign in with your name and your address. If you could introduce yourself to us, just with your name. The address should be written down, but you don't have to read it aloud to us as long as it's written on the paper. What we'll do is we'll have you come up and speak. We'll take notes on anything that you say. And then after everybody's come up and said something, I'll close the public hearing, and then we'll relay those questions either to Steve or myself or Liz or whoever's the appropriate person to answer a question or make a comment. So what I'll do now is I will open the public hearing. And if anybody would like to come and speak on the budget, please feel free to come to the podium. You can come on up if you'd like.
The paper? No, I'll get it later, if that's okay.
It's not a terribly formal process. We just want to be able to find you in case you say hypothetically you ran out of here because something came up. We'd still want to be able to reach you and let you know. Yeah.
My name is Kate
Thank you.
Slobam, and I am a volunteer with Hagrid's Hope Cat Rescue. And I am pleased to hear that Portage is looking at a TNR program, trap, neuter, release. But I also did some research, and I brought copies of the information that I'd like to give the council. I don't know who I hand this to. I didn't have my copies. And basically what I did was looking at the problem of homeless cats in Portage, and there's a lot of debate about what's a feral cat and what's a cat that's just living outside, and that's something that needs to be addressed separately. But I looked at what other cities in the area are doing about this issue. And it is a problem because there are a lot of homeless cats, and we get calls constantly from Portage residents about cats in their yard, cats having kittens under their deck, cats sick and dying in their yard. And the Portage Animal Control Policy and the Porter County Policy are not the same as other cities, not that they have to be, but I think that there could be a better approach. And so I've done research in some of the local cities and what they do and how they handle the problem. I also looked into research about TNR and then also about low-cost spay and neutering programs. So one of the problems is that residents don't get their cats spayed and neutered, let them run in the streets, and then there are more cats and more cats and more cats. And even in my own neighborhood, we have found suddenly a cat that seems very friendly and nice shows up and she's pregnant, and we know she's come from some home, but she's probably been thrown out because they found out she was pregnant and they don't want to deal with kittens. So it's an ongoing community problem. I think it's a safety issue. I think it's a health issue because these cats in the community cause a problem. And then also what we've seen in our neighborhood in Portage is then coyotes in the neighborhood. I've had them in my front yard. We see them across the street all the time at dawn. So it is a problem that needs to be addressed. Other cities are addressing it differently, and I would like the City Council to just look at what other cities are doing and what some of the options are. I did some research for TNR programs. Right here in Portage, we have a program called SNP, which does low-cost spay and neutering that I think a lot of community members can't afford the vet bills to take their cats in to be spayed and neutered, and their dogs. They also do low-cost neutering for dogs. And this is a place that offers a very low-cost option, and yet I don't think it gets enough attention and people don't know about it. And so other cities do partnering with TNR programs, with spay and neutering programs, and with shelters. And so like any other independent rescue in the area, we're full, and it's because we constantly get calls from residents who have cats and kittens and cats in the yard and want us to help them, and we do want to help them, but we're full. We're running out of funds. And so we'd also like the community's help in fundraising, in pairing with these places to promote low-cost spay and neutering and TNR programs. Anything else I should say?
Thank you very much.
We've got our... Yes, just recently we got a call from Animal Control because a Portage resident called about a cat with kittens, and Animal Control couldn't help them. And we ended up going over there and trapping them and taking them in. So it is a problem. Animal Control sees it as a problem, and I think the community should see it as a problem. I know it's not the most important problem in all of Portage, but it is a health and safety issue, and I think it's also a matter of compassion. And also what we're finding is a lot of the policies, like the animal control, like even Porter County Animal Shelter, will take in dogs, but they will not take in cats. And so we'd also like to question why this policy, why one and not the other? And I realize dogs are bigger, they can be more dangerous, but there is a problem with cats running loose in the area too.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that'd like to come and speak on the budget?
Sorry, I can't see. My name is James Schultz. I am actually the CEO of Haggard's Hope Cat Rescue out here in Portage. Like Kate was saying earlier, we had been called by Animal Control, Portage Animal Control, to pick up, or if we would pick up a mother cat and her babies. He was actually on another call in Portage for picking up a cat that was sick or dying. At that time, he took that cat to Westville to have it euthanized. Upon meeting with him at the Portage residence, he told us that Animal Control's whole thing is they don't take in cats or kittens unless they're going to be euthanized. So basically, there's nothing for it. We understand that the city has a big responsibility with budgeting and all that. We're not asking for money. We don't need your money. We don't want the money. What we do want is help with resources, finding places where we could set up something where we could do something to help these animals. Yes, they say dog is a man's best friend. Well, cats are too. I mean, I've got a three-legged cat that she helped me through some of my hardest times. So cats can be just as loving and adoring as any other dog. So they deserve basically the same rights. A lot of times, people will get rid of the problem on their own. You know, last I heard, that's supposed to be a crime. Now, is anybody going to report it? Not really. Nobody really cares about them because they are forgotten animals. Everybody thinks that just because that they could take care of themselves or they're independent, we don't need to worry about them. But just like with any other animal, they need help too. At one time, these cats didn't choose to be feral. They didn't go out saying, oh, I want to be like this. Somebody threw them out and made them like this. The mother that we have, she is, I mean, as sweet as could be. At first she was scared, but other than that, she's sweet. I mean, she's very loving and all that. And it takes us time to find places, but we need somewhere, we need help finding something so that we could house more of them so that we can find them loving homes to go into. We have found quite a few, many loving homes with the ones that we have already adopted. We've adopted over 30? Over 30 cats, all to good loving homes. We get daily pictures, well, not daily pictures, we get monthly pictures of how they're doing, and a lot of them are doing great in their homes. I think there's only been one where we don't get an update. It happens. But we try to find them as loving homes as they need. We understand that the money needs to go somewhere else. Yes, we need to keep our schools safe. We need to keep the public safe. We need to keep firefighters in their job to keep everybody healthy and out of trouble if they get it into some kind of something. So we're not asking for money per se. We're just asking for help to find the resources. Also, one of ours is yard sales. We have a lot of yard sales, and it's been put. We've been given a notice that we can no longer have yard sales to help support this what we're doing, because it says that we can only have 7 in Portage, 7 yard sales in Portage a year. So that kind of puts a big roadblock in the way of trying to do what we're trying to do to help these animals. And so I also came here today to see about a variance, but nobody was in. But we just need help. I mean, we ask for the public's help. You'll see us all the time. We need help with this, that, or the other. We ask for washing blankets. It's not the city's job to wash our blankets. We ask normal, everyday people. And if they volunteer for it, they volunteer for it. It's not a demanding thing, hey, you need to wash our blankets. No, we don't do that. Just like we don't, you need to pay these other bills. We don't do that. We ask, if you can, please support us, please help us. We are a 501c, so everything that we do is public. We have no problem putting out there what we spend in food, which is an incredible amount every day.
It's appreciated. Is there anything else when it comes to the budget? And I apologize, I don't want to cut you off. I appreciate what you guys are doing, but I want to make sure that for the purpose of this meeting, we're able to keep a focus on the city budget.
All right, it has nothing to do with the budget, but it does have something to do with, I guess, where stuff would come from, like buildings or things like that.
And we'd be happy to talk to you about it. Absolutely. But yeah, I think that could come even at the end of the meeting too. If you'd like to come back, we'll have the public input spot.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come and speak about the budget? I thought, Joe, maybe you were about to stand up and come up and speak about the budget.
Come on, Joe.
Anybody else to speak about the budget? I got to ask one more time just to kind of, it's a trick I learned from years of doing this. Hearing none, I will close the public meeting, or the public hearing. All right. Are there any questions from the council? One thing I do kind of wonder, and Chief, I don't want to go too far, but was there anything you'd want to say about the TNR program as proposed by the police? That is a budget item within the bigger budget, yeah.
Yeah, not too huge on that, just that we were trying to find a solution for some of the complaints that we've had for the high cat population that seems to be homeless. One thing I did want to comment on, just so that everybody's on the same page, that the policy to not take in cats is not a policy of our animal control. We actually contract with Porter County Animal Shelter. That's their policy. So, I mean, that's who we use to house the animals that we take in. So I actually would like to give kudos to our animal control officers for kind of going the extra step and trying to reach out to some of the shelters, because that's kind of, I hate to say it, but it is kind of beyond their scope based on our contract with Porter County. So I'm glad that there are places that are out there and that our officers are trying to work on that. And 2 cats and a dog, so I give love to both sides of that. So, but I just wanted to make sure that's not really a policy of our police department or our animal control, that we just turn our backs on the cats. It's just, I think that's such a large problem, and as you guys said, there's just not as many facilities that can house them, and so they have to make their decisions out there based on the space they've got, and unfortunately, I don't know how else to say it, but that is what it is right now, and our policy is dictated off of our contract with them. So.
Well, thank you, Chief. But yeah, within the budget, we do have a proposal for a TNR, which is a trap, neuter, and release program, which you'll find some information on that. I think it was handed to you there, but also we'll have more when we get deeper into it. Are there any other questions from the council members?
I had just a couple brief questions / statements. I do know that, or it was brought to my attention that this year's budget process is different and that department heads have a much greater input in the budget process, which I think is great, and it seems to be greatly appreciated from the department head perspective. As a member of the Budget Committee, we will be having our meeting on the 15th, so I will reserve any of my, detailed questions for that. Although, this is my, 4th or 5th budget process, so I will ask the question that I ask every year to the Clerk Treasurer Modesto. Based on your opinion, professional opinion, can we, as a city government, afford this proposed budget?
Yes, we can.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Ferdinand. Any other questions from the council? And this is not my fourth or fifth, time. For the purposes of this end, is there any formal action that needs to be taken, or I guess maybe I'm turning to my parliamentarian on the screen over there? For now that we've had the hearing, we just.
Public hearing, the next step is the adoption meeting later this month.
Gotcha. So unless there's any other questions from the council, we'll jump ahead to our next item, which is the Resolution 2404 Portage Kedzie LLC tax abatement. So if this sounds familiar, we've had kind of an interesting history with this one. And Attorney Graham, if you were prepared to go into it a little bit, I know I'd appreciate it because you speak on it, I'm sure, more articulately and just eloquently than I can.
I'm not sure I can live up to that platitude, but I will try to address it. The resolution has been prepared for consideration by the Common Council as it has the responsibility to accept tax abatement. And this subject was brought up a few months ago, but without the particular details that you find in this resolution. Namely, it references an agreement to be entered into between the developer and the city, whereby it's necessary for the developer to live by its promises to construct to the tune to add significant value to the property so that the city ultimately benefits. In exchange for that, the tax abatement is offered to the property owner developer for the purposes of incentivizing them to come to the city. Within the document, you'll see that there's a tax abatement schedule that has been prepared. That one tracks the standard statute that is allowed in Indiana. It doesn't mean that this council needs to absolutely live by it, but by comparison to a previous version of the tax abatement schedule, this schedule is actually more favorable than a standard 10% reduction from year 1 through year 10. So, in other words, the property owner is trying to reduce its tax obligation. They get the promise made by the city to deduct value. It leads to a lower tax bill in the first year significantly. And then it continues to track downward. Again, you can see the schedule set forth in the document. Tonight, the Common Council has a chance to accept that as a standard to be used. Granted, the current ordinance that the city has right now does not have a specific schedule that's set forth. In a previous iteration, I saw a schedule that went from 100% to 90 to 80 to 70 as you go year to year. This schedule is a little bit different. If you do the math here, actually the cumulative value to the developer is smaller than if you were to do a straight line 100%, 90, 80, 70, 60. And it's a difference of about 5%. So the city actually, if it were to adopt this, would actually be getting more taxes than if it followed a straight step-down pattern. The agreement requires a contribution to be made by the developer every year, the equivalent of the lesser of $100,000 or the 15% of the savings that is given to the developer, and that money would be then redirected to the Redevelopment Commission for the City of Portage. So that's my explanation of what's before you today. And the developer, as you can see in the packet, has accepted the proposed schedule by signing on the agreement line.
And I think that was my two questions that I had, Ed, and then I'll give it to the council. I guess I'm going backwards. One, I believe the reason why, when you reference it, go into the Redevelopment Commission, that's because this property happens to be in the TIF district.
Correct.
if it were not in the TIF district, everything you said, except it would be going, towards the city or to the different ways that splits. Just so you guys don't think I'm trying to pull something sneaky, that's just where the property is. But I guess that gets to the second part. So when you reference the developer and the developer signing off on this, so this has been voted on, or maybe the right way I should say it is, the tax abatement for this particular company, this project, it's been voted on. I'm in an earlier meeting. I don't recall exactly who voted yes, who voted no, but I remember that it passed, Is this a redo, or is this a completion of it? Was there something incomplete?
I would say it's a completion of it that has details that the first resolution did not have.
I think with that in mind, and I'm saying this to be respectful, I'm looking at Ferdinand because I remember you're one of the ones who voted no. I don't recall if anyone else did. I'm trying to figure out, I think no matter what, if there's going to be abatements, I think that this schedule and this proposal is the better way to go. I mean, that's my opinion, on it. But in terms of this particular one, I guess I'm just wondering, proceeding as this council, how do I say this? This is basically not a redo of the previous abatement. This is clarifying things that were within it. Is that the better way to say it?
That is correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the previous resolution was a general resolution without the detail of the agreement and what benefit the developer was going to have, specifically what obligations the developer had to complete its commitment to the city.
Maybe that's what I'm getting at, is that even if you voted no on this previously, voting yes is not necessarily a contradiction of your previous vote, but it would be voting to clarify details of how that abatement works. Would that be one way to say it?
Yes, that is a possibility in terms of
That's what I was
thought
trying to make
process.
sure.
Can we explain once again for the public as to what this company is?
As I recall, Councilperson Hurst, this is a Holiday Properties proposal, and they have been involved in the development at Ameriplex at the port. This is an additional parcel east of the Bass Pro. I believe it's projected to be an 88,000 square foot building, if I recall correctly. It's called a Flex Industrial Building. So those are the particulars that I recall from the proposal initially put together. I have had discussions previously with Andy Maletta, and of course, with his role in economic development, he certainly endorsed this company. And again, they have been involved. They cited 2 or 3 other properties that they developed at Ameriplex to give them credibility in terms of the proposal that was made initially and is carried through with this supplemental resolution.
I believe Dan Bowditch was also consulted on this schedule, and I believe that Dan has used this format in his work with other cities or towns. Highland comes to mind, but I know there's a couple other examples.
That's correct. Highland and Hammond. I consulted with Dan Bowditch with his municipal financing background, and he examined the schedule and the resolution in general and found it to be in order.
Are there other questions from the council?
Only briefly, Attorney Graham, if this resolution is a continuation of the previous vote, if it is hypothetically voted down, will the abatement still occur based on tonight's vote?
If this resolution was not accepted by the Common Council, it would not occur.
Thank you.
And that is to say, because the previous abatement, or the abatement that was voted on previously, it's incomplete to such an extent that it can't be acted on. Is that correct?
Correct.
Gotcha. Well, then I don't know about corrected, but it is to say that, yeah, if you're against it, not telling you what to do, but just, it speaks to some clarification there.
Thank you for that point, Mr. Mayor.
I think in the future, we want to make sure that any such abatements, if proposed, generally speaking, this would be the format you would recommend that we follow if an abatement's going to be written. Is that correct?
It certainly would be the format, but I also want to let the Common Council know that they have the authority to create the schedule that fits their prerogatives. So I do think it would be useful to create a standard. That would be my recommendation. There may be a situation where you would deviate from that standard, but that's my commentary on that question.
I guess the question you say making a standard, do you mean like this council like voting on something that is like a stated policy and then the council notes when they're deviating from it? Deviate sounds like a bad word. I don't mean it like that.
The city does have an abatement ordinance currently. It does not have a schedule, however, and that's what I'm specifically referring to is adoption of a standard schedule as appears to have occurred with other communities.
Can I just say one thing? On the agreement, it says tax abatement agreement, and before we vote on this, suggestion, can we change the tax abatement resolution so we can give it a resolution number instead of abatement?
Yes.
Okay. If someone could make an amendment to that so we can make it a resolution instead of an agreement.
Yeah. So I think you're referring to, but there's the
It's
principal.
it's listed as resolution number 24-04.
Yes, and then within, as an exhibit to that resolution is this agreement. That I would keep that language in place because it's actually an agreement between the city and the developer to reshuffle tax money. And it imposes obligations on both the city and on the developer.
So I guess before we go any further, I mean, we should probably have somebody read it and then, but I think it was good to have the discussion first a bit about what this is and how it's being set up. So I guess, Ed, if I could ask one more thing then. So when you talk about the council adopting a schedule that is set, would that be a separate ordinance like that, or that would be an amendment to the current ordinance on abatements that we would add a schedule to it?
Because the current ordinance does not have an abatement schedule, this would effectively make terms between the city and the developer that would not necessarily be deemed an ordinance, okay? So as it relates to my comment, if the Common Council wanted to develop a standard, I would recommend an ordinance revision to show what that standard abatement schedule would look like over a span of 10 years.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So with that and all said and done, would it be appropriate for me to ask a council person to read it?
Yes, that would be appropriate.
Penny, would you be comfortable reading it, or would you prefer? Okay, go ahead.
Resolution number 24-04, Portage County LLC tax abatement. The resolution of the Common Council of the City of Porter County, Indiana, approving an application for tax abatement made by Portage Kedzie LLC, 1680 Jensen Drive, Portage, Indiana, 46368. Whereas pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1.4, the Indiana legislature established an act permitting a tax abatement on real estate in order to revitalize areas within cities and towns located in Indiana. Portage Kedzie LLC has submitted a SB-1 form statement of benefits real estate improvements on July 17, 2024, attached hereto as Exhibit A, seeking approval from the Common Council of the City of Portage based on the development of a flex industrial facility consisting of 88,500 square feet to be located at 1680 Jensen Drive, Portage, Indiana, 46368. Flex Industrial Facility Development. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Portage, having considered all relevant factors for granting a deduction for rehabilitation or redevelopment of real property in economic revitalization area pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-0.3, has concluded that the application meets the criterion to permit and approve such tax abatement and has granted the application, and whereas it is now necessary to detail the terms of the tax abatement through an approved schedule pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.14. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Portage Common Council that the materials submitted and presented made by Portage Kedzie LLC in the form of the application SB-1 Form Statement of Benefits Real Estate Improvement dated July 17th, 2024, and public remarks on August 6th, 2024, and August 13th, 2024, allow for the following findings and conclusions by the Common Council. That 1, the Flex Industrial Facility development is reasonably designed and planned for a project of its nature. 2, the estimated number of individuals to be employed and/or retained as permanent employees from the construction, renovation, redevelopment, or installation of real property improvements is reasonable. 3, the estimated annual salaries of individuals to be employed and/or retained as permanent employees from the construction, renovation, redevelopment, or installation of the Flex Industrial Facility is reasonable. And 4, the totality of the benefits is sufficient to justify the abatement sought by Portage Kedzie LLC by use of the tax abatement schedule inserted below. Be it further resolved by the City of Portage Common Council that the Flex Industrial Facility is located within a designated allocation area of the Portage Redevelopment District, namely Ameriplex at the Port. Be it further resolved by the City of Portage Common Council grants an assessed valuation deduction or tax abatement from real property limited to a cost of $5,700,000 to be completed by December 31st, 2025 for full assessment on January 1st, 2026 for an abatement period of 10 years for the benefit of Portage Kedzie LLC in accordance with IC 6-1.1-12.1-3C and IC 6-1.1-12.117B as it relates to the Flex Industrial Facility. Be it further resolved that the tax abatement from the real property shall be applied only to the real property improvements to be located at 1680 Jensen Drive, Portage, Indiana 46368, PIN 64-05-01-276-002.000-016. And finally, be it further resolved that the Common Council hereby grants an assessed valuation deduction tax abatement of real property with an abatement schedule provided below pursuant to IC 6-1.-12.1-17B, consistent with the above abatement period as it relates to the project. Year 1, deduction percentage 100%. Year 2, 95%. Year 3, 80%. Year 4, 65%. Year 5, 50%. Year 6, 40%. Year 7, 30%. Year 8, 20%. Year 9, 10%, year 10, 5%. Be it further resolved that having received the consent of Portage Kedzie LLC and in accordance with the IC 6-1.1-12.1-14B, the attached tax abatement agreement, Exhibit A, and pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-14 for each year that Portage Kedzie LLC's real property tax liability is reduced by a valuation deduction related specifically to the Flex Industrial Facility, Portage Kedzie LLC, shall pay to the Porter County Treasurer a fee in the amount computed and determined by the Porter County Auditor pursuant to the provision of subsection C of IC 6-1.1-12.1-14, the imposed fee, such that the Common Council hereby determines that 15% shall be the percentage to be applied by the Porter County Auditor for purposes of Step 2 of subsection C of IC 6-1.1-12.1-14C. Accordingly, for each year, the imposed fee is payable by Portage Kedzie LLC. The imposed fee shall be equal to the lesser of $100,000 or 15% of the additional amount of real property taxes that would have been paid by Portage Kedzie LLC during that year if the deductions approved in this resolution had not been in effect. For example, 15% of Portage Kedzie LLC's real property tax savings attributable to a deduction from the assessed valuation from the Flex Industrial Facility. And the imposed fee as collected shall be distributed to the City of Portage Redevelopment Commission as a public entity established to promote economic development within the corporate limits of the City of Portage as determined by the Common Council as the designating body. Be it further resolved that the final determination of the amount assessed valuation deduction as applied for the Flex Industrial Facility for the real property improvements shall be made by the appropriate agency for Porter County or the state of Indiana. Be it further resolved that the clerk treasurer of the city is hereby directed to file with the office of the Porter County Auditor the following information as it applies to this resolution and the approval of the Portage Kedzie LLC's assessed valuation deduction in order to ensure the application of an assessed valuation deduction as calculated by the office of the Porter County Assessor, assuming an annual Form CF1 is approved by the Common Council and all required documents are filed in a timely manner. The Form SB1 or real property as approved properly, completed and executed consistent with this resolution and as signed and attested by the appropriate city officials. That was number 1. Number 2, a certified copy of this resolution. And 3, a copy of the meeting minutes which approved this resolution and the Form SB-1 real property. Be it further resolved that if any part, clause, or portion of this resolution shall be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect the validity or constitutionality of this resolution as a whole or any other part, clause, or portion of the resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and adoption by the Common Council of the City for Portage and upon the signature of the mayor of the city as its chief executive. Passed and adopted by the Common Council for the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana. This, well, I really can't say it's been passed because we haven't.
You can just say blank day of.
This blank day of October 2024.
Great job, Penny. So do we have any continued discussion on this? And also, Penny, we're going to name an award after you after reading that one.
So I, just to briefly, and I hate to say this, but Mr. Graham, was that the correct ordinance or correct resolution to be read? Or is that the different one from the tax abatement resolution, the one that we had talked about changing the wording? Was that the one that was supposed to be read?
Yes,
apologize.
for consideration of the subject on the agenda today, yes.
Very good, thank you. Sorry.
That's okay.
We were going to make Ferdinand read it if it had to be read a second time.
Could you read that again, please, Penny?
I would like to comment that we are trying to reduce the burden on reading by coming to a different approach, maybe by displaying the proposed
Language up there on the
resolutions or
screen.
ordinances on the screens so that the public and those in the common council chambers can read along without Penny expiring in front of us.
Yes. That's not a budget issue, it's just a technology issue, and we are working on it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Penny.
Make a motion to adopt.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Make a second.
We have a motion and a second. Liz, could you do the roll call?
Absolutely. Councilmember Alvarez.
No?
Councilmember Geis-Hurst.
Yes.
Councilmember Bob Parnell.
Yes.
Councilmember Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilmember Ambler.
Yes.
Councilmember Zilli.
Yes.
Thank you. We now go on to new business, Providence at Farmington Development Plan. I believe that this is a first reading, or would you like to come up? Or
You want us to come up?
you're welcome to if you'd like. It's entirely up to you.
We're going to ask you how much time you want us to use of your evening tonight.
I think, well, you guys will be back for a future meeting, I believe, because I think this is step 1, and then step 2 is the second reading. Is that correct?
Oh, this is certainly the first reading. Yes.
So I think that's really up to the council if you guys want to ask questions, but maybe we can start by having Gina do the reading. Why am I always... Is it not on your screen? Bob, do you have a copy that you can put? No? This is the development plan for Providence at Farmington.
This is a good time to talk about this week, next week, or something.
It's a lot in there.
I just don't know how to use it, so I have just the video.
Work on it. We've got, what, 2, is it 3 weeks till the next meeting? We just. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Isn't, yeah, today's 8? Yeah. So 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
And
yeah,
it-
I can
You have some time. Okay. Okay. Good.
I just need to watch
Okay. Sounds good.
Mr. Cherry, do you happen to have or know what we're looking for as far as what needs to be read?
Well, so what's going to be read tonight are 3 ordinances. The way our code reads is 2 of them are zoning changes within that plan development, and the 3rd ordinance is the plan development. To preface this, the Plan Commission has recommended favorable, recommendation to the City Council as well as staff. Our staff report is enclosed. We feel it's a good transition from the commercial to the north to less dense residential all the way to the south of that subdivision. So yeah, the way our code reads, it's 3 ordinances, but it's one plan development. So it's just a technicality. So with that.
So there's actually 3 things that need to be read?
Yes, there's 3 ordinances.
Oh, that's
So
perfect.
the first ordinance changes it from, let's say, for example, R1 to R2. And then the second ordinance changes it from R2 to PDR2. So it's kind of a 2-step process. So that's 2 separate ordinances. The third is the actual plan development that outlines where those zonings are in the development.
But working backwards a little, Tom, is it right to say that to be a plan development, you have to be that R2 PD first?
To PD, correct.
But then it's got to change into that if that's going to happen. Is that correct?
Well, first it gets changed, and then it turns into a PD change. So it's just the 2-step process, the way our code is written.
Got it. So I guess the spot for me is, do we have the right stuff that needs to be read for the purpose of this first reading? And so, Tom, you're saying that there's 2 things that need to be read, or 3?
3.
3, perfect.
3.
We're going to have Gina do one, we're going to have Victoria do one, and then Ferdinand will do one. That way everybody can leave this meeting saying that they've read something.
Okay.
Gina, do you mind going first?
Gina, before you do, unfortunately, I have to step out of the meeting. I'm at a work event, so thank you all.
Thank you so much, Colin.
Thank you for attending, Colin. We appreciate it. And so we don't have an ordinance number.
So they should be numbered.
No, these are,
It is
the one from our,
change entitled zoning map, and it's going to be from R1 to M, R2, low density, and then. I'm sorry, myself and Mr. Cherry went over this afternoon, so we don't have an ordinance number for it yet because we just received, I didn't know there was so much in there, I didn't know which ones to print out, so we went over it. If you want me to give you the ones, this is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3?
Before we do, Mr. Graham, is there an issue with it not having a number assigned yet, or can it be read that way?
I believe it can be read that way with the clerk treasurer assigning a number in sequence.
Gotcha. So as long as it's assigned by the clerk treasurer's office, it can still be read as a, okay, gotcha.
Liz, can I clarify that the one that says mapping, sorry, the one that says mapping is R1 to R2?
I believe so. Here, I'll just give you the ordinances because I know it was very confusing in the Dropbox. There's one, who's reading the number 2? Yeah, you are. And then Ferdinand reading number 3. All right.
this ordinance is of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage as follows. Section 1, this ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from R1, very low density residential, to R1, very low residential, R1, very low density residential, to R2, low density residential, and R1, very low density residential, to M1, low density multifamily residential for 120.18 acres. And then I don't need to read the whole.
No, I think you can just say, let it be read, or what, let the,
Let the record reflect the legal description appears next.
Let the record reflect that the legal description appears next.
thank you, Gina. Ed, is it, do we have to, I guess we're just reading them each, right? Because this is just the first reading, so we can move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, so Victoria, you are up.
Ordinance number 24 to be determined in sequential order. An ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. Section 1, this ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from R1, very low-density residential, to PD-R1, R2, low-density residential, to PD-R2, and M1, low-density multifamily residential, to PD-M1 for 120.18 acres, plus or minus. The legal description listed below is as follows, and let the record show that the legal description is read in its entirety.
Thank you. And then Ferdinand, if you're comfortable taking on the third one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 12 of the, Article 7 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Districts and Map, creating a planned development overlay for the below-described property pursuant to Article 9. Be it and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. Section 1, this ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 7 to create and designate the following described property, a planned development overlay, Providence at Farmington pursuant to Article 9, and preliminary development plan of which are as follows. description of real estate to be rezoned commonly known as northeast side of Airport Road, County Road 500 West, and County Road 700 North, approximately 120.18 acres. Let the record show that the legal description follows and has been read in its entirety.
Thank you, Ferdinand. Thank you guys for being here. Simply put, it's a first reading, so there's not action taken here. We appreciate you guys being available. If there are any questions from the council, you guys are free to ask. Otherwise, we've satisfied, what's needed for the first reading, is my understanding.
No, I thank you. I just appreciate the fact that letting us know how the Plan Commission stood on it, and they all agreed, so thank you.
I'll say more at the next meeting that they're here for the second, but what I can tell you is I came in with a reputation of Austin Bonta being a tougher guy when it comes to homes. Maybe it's because my name's on a subdivision in the city, so I take our subdivisions really seriously. I couldn't tell you, but what I can say with this particular team that came in is that I think they came in very concerned because, like, what does the election of Austin Bonta mean for anyone trying to build a neighborhood in the city of Portage? Well, what it means is we've got high standards. What it means is that we're not afraid to tell people that things need to go back to a drawing board. And if you guys remember, they've been in a meeting before, I believe, and they showed a concept plan, and you'll notice that what's up here, it looks significantly different than the original plan. That's because there were things that we got our departments involved, we got DRC involved, we've got Tom Cherry, who's just, I don't know how to explain it. Tom is like a rock star with this stuff. He's got a good bedside manner. I'm sometimes the bad cop. I guess Tom is the good cop. I don't know. But it is just to say that a lot of work has gone in, so we'll see you guys then, I guess, the next meeting, unless there's any other questions from the council.
I appreciate the changes. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Reports from the city officials. We've got a couple city officials here, but I'm gonna let you guys be unless there was something particular that needed to come up. Okay. We've got any reports from standing committees?
Just that we have our meeting tomorrow, or next Sunday, budget hearing meeting at 6 PM, or budget committee meeting. Tuesday, next Tuesday.
I was gonna say a
Yeah.
Sunday budget committee meeting sounds like that
We're
sounds
eager.
Sounds like a trip. Yeah. All right. Do we have any petitions, remonstrances, or public input? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion, and we have a second. With Colin out, do we still need the roll call? Sure, go ahead and let's do roll call.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Gina Geist-Hurst.
Yes.
Councilmember Parnell.
Yes.
Councilmember Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilmember Ambler.
Yes.
Councilmember Zilli. Sorry, Zilli.
All right, the motion passed, so adjourned.